Friendship is a new R-rated comedy that's out in theaters right now, and that's kind of weird to say in this time considering we don't get many of these anymore. So this film stars Tim Robinson, the guy behind I Think You Should Leave, which is one of my favorite sketch comedy shows. And here I was kind of interested going in if this was just going to be a series of his sketches kind of drawn out to a feature film length, and while to a degree you do kind of have that sprinkled throughout, it's surprisingly smart. It really hits its stride though in the fact that it kind of delves into these themes about male loneliness in a surprisingly emotional and smart way. At the same time though, it is Tim Robinson being an absolute riot throughout the whole thing and is easily the funniest movie of the year and probably one of my favorite comedies of the last 10 years. Tim Robinson's great, he's just playing himself and kind of all the characters that you usually see him play in his sketches and his comedy, but it totally works here for this character. It kind of works for what the film is trying to tell. Paul Rudd is also in this movie, and while he doesn't really do much, he's kind of more so just there for Tim Robinson to play off of. He's pretty effective in his role. The story does a pretty good job of kind of slowly building out these ideas and themes that they're trying to discuss, but also not at all making it in your face because of just how absurd this movie is with all these crazy jokes. The film is essentially riddled throughout with a bunch of sketches and really funny ideas, and it just works for being a very good comedy. It has some of the best sketches and comedy bits that I've seen in a movie in a very long time, and they both work as just being kind of their own thing that you can laugh at, but also somehow sort of leaning into the story in a very smart way. The film also has a very good score and kind of continuous atmosphere throughout the whole thing that just makes it very comforting in a strange way. And this is one of those films that truly knows how to balance its tones and emotions. It is telling a very strangely smart and intuitive story, but at the same time, never once does it feel forced or in your face, and then it's just throwing in so much comedy, but yet it just completely works despite how absurd some of this stuff is. So overall, Friendship is a great comedy. It's Tim Robinson being Tim Robinson at his best, but yet at the same time telling a pretty smart and compelling story about male loneliness in a really smart way, but then just still having all the funny comedy sketches that you always want to see out of his work. And that's why I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10.